Hey y'all, this is Sizzle powered by Fit to Be Trained, coming to you from the Deep End Broadcasting Network studios in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, in the United States of America. You can find this program on deependbroadcasting.com and subscribe to this network's YouTube channel, Deep End 757 Broadcasting. Hey y'all, I'm Karen, aka Sizzle, and I'm bringing the Sizzle show powered by Fit to Be Trained. But I wanted to come on and just talk to you about things all fitness, whether it be weight training, Pilates, nutrition, anything fitness. And I got my buddy Steve here to partner with me and keep the conversation live and going.
Good morning. How are you?
Thanks, Steve. Thanks so much for helping me with this project. All right. First, I guess I should introduce myself. Really, like, who's Sizzle? Well, I'm Sizzle. And I got that nickname when I met Steve, actually, back at a CrossFit gym. God, I wish I knew the year. It's been probably 8-9 years ago. And all of us had nicknames. And the owner's husband named me Sizzle, and it just stuck. Nobody ever really knows why. There's lots of theories of why it was called. I was called Sizzle. I will say it was 4:30 in the afternoon in the middle of the summer, so it was really, really hot out, and I would get as red as a tomato. So I kind of thought maybe that's why I got named that. We all had these great, unique names, and that was a great gym, wasn't it, Steve?
I always thought it was because you popped off.
I don't know. Like, I did talk a lot. I was young. I was in my 40s back then, so it was a long time ago. But yeah, I don't know. We always had such a good time. I was always joking around, and yeah, I don't know. There were theories. This one guy said, "Cause yeah, like you're always popping off, the life of the party." And I don't mean popping off like mad or anything. We had so much fun in those days, and I still have fun. I was at CrossFit this morning. Who am I kidding? I love that place. That's probably my favorite form of fitness. And
is there no better satisfaction in the world than waking up and like being able to? The first thing you do, you get in the gym and you get it over with, and you know that you're done for the day.
Totally, man. And you're in such a good mood too. And another thing about the CrossFit gym that I like is it's group fitness. That's really what I enjoy. I like working out with others. I've been in athletics my whole life, so I was always on team sports, and I love that camaraderie. And any group fitness, it doesn't have to be CrossFit, people. You can do anything, and you're going to make friends with those people in your class because you're suffering. And suffering,
yeah, they're suffering as much as you are at the end of the day.
Yeah, and suffering brings you close together, and it's fun, and you feel great, like you just said. Like, there's something, you feel so happy after it's over. Like, I always joke around, it's fun when it's going on, but it's really fun when it's done. You feel great. Your endorphins are up. I mean, scientifically, you feel good because your endorphins are up. Emotionally, you feel good because you accomplished something already today and you get to move on. Often that's going to be the hardest thing of your day. You know what I mean? Depending on the workout, Yep. It prepares you for a day. I mean, there's so many good reasons why for me to work out in the morning, and maybe you too, Steve. A lot of people like to end their day though. I mean, I'm a Pilates and fitness trainer. I do strength training and Pilates and everything. And my busiest times are the morning before work and then after work. The evening people. So there's so many people that love to work out, to start their evening. And I get that. I get that too. But me personally, I love to get it over with in the morning. I feel good. I feel like it makes me a better trainer to my clients.
I think that people, and this is me too. I mean, when you have some anxiety and you got to just wait around until the end of the day for a workout, because we have planned workouts here in the driveway sometimes. and you got to wait till 6 o'clock, even 6:15, 6:30. And it's just like you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting. And by the time it gets to it, I mean, you almost feel like you're washed away from the day. I mean, you've already, probably worked out in the heat, like you said, in the summertime when it's blaring around here.
That was a tough one.
And then trying to rally that late in the day after you've had a hard day's work outside, not the easiest thing.
I agree. Like I've always given people like the pat on the shoulder that could do the evening workouts, because I too, like, even though I'm a fitness trainer and I love athletics, I mean, I love this whole world and this job and everything. But when it comes to me training, you give me a 4:30 start or a 6 o'clock, I've got a lot of time to cancel that thing. I've got all day long to figure out how I don't have to go. I'm just like everybody else. So unless I have an appointment, which is really why I like group fitness, because I'm more apt to go, because I'm like, all right, even at that 4:30 class after work, what I did, when I was much younger, I was going to go see my friends. It was social, so that's what would help me. But I agree with you. As far as time for working out, I really prefer doing it in the morning.
Right.
I just, and I'm an anxious person, period. And so that helps me settle. I've got ADD. I've got all the crazy stuff, so if I get to work out, it's kind of like it just brings me down, and I mean down, not like depressed down. I mean, brings me down to a calmer level. Like I had an 8 a.m. Pilates, more like a mobility class. I had to teach at 8, and I worked out this morning at the CrossFit gym at 6. So it just makes me for a better, more focused, warmed up trainer. But like tomorrow morning, my first job's at 6 or 5:45. Actually, I have to train somebody else. So sometimes I have to turn it on as a trainer without the workout, and then I'll get a workout at noon. I've been doing some weight training stuff. I thought, all right, I got to start working out. I got to start. So I turned the camera on and offered it to, some of my, my email lists. And I did put it on social media too, that, you can just plug in virtually, because I'm trying to take my live business virtually and become online as well. I'm not getting rid of my live business. I love that. I love teaching Pilates Reformer, but I really like being online. I feel so part of the new age, I've been wanting to go online before COVID.
Right. Yeah, you would have been groundbreaking at that.
I know.
To be honest.
One of my friends.
Too late in that regard.
One of my friends was groundbreaking, got in there right before COVID, and she's doing very, very well. A really good friend, one of my favorite trainers out in Arkansas. Fit for 5 is her business, and she's an online trainer, and she got in right before COVID. Mm-hmm. And oh my God, yeah, she's one of my girls. I always look up to her. So there's a plug for my friend Stephanie. But yeah, if you got in on that before COVID, you did well. I'm still treading water a couple of years after COVID, but COVID made me jumpstart, and I started doing classes online, personal training online. So now I'm trying to do more of a platform, because a lot of my stuff is still live, where they can buy packages, and still haven't figured that out yet, but I'll get there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a work in progress.
It really is, man. You never, you get good at something, and then something else comes down the pike. And I think everybody knows that with the social media gig. As soon as you get done doing something, they come up with something new, and you're like, oh, all right, I gotta learn this now. Okay. But I just am so grateful that you and I talked about doing this, because I love talking about fitness. I love talking to other trainers. You're a coach in rugby. I love talking to you. Like, I remember when I was going to go for my bodybuilding competition, I showed you my bodybuilding workouts and you were like, you can do this. You know, this is a good workout. And you really, because of your coaching, you're a coach. And I just really wanted you to look at the workouts. Me and you had been working out in the gym at CrossFit for years. And I was like, can I really do this? You know, could I do this? I'm 54 years old, you know? And you were like, yeah. So that really helped me, you know, your coaching ability to just even say the right thing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go do this. You might be a rugby coach, but I love talking to anybody in the profession of fitness. It's so fun. I always find that I have so much to talk about with you. I was like, oh boy, wow, 45 minutes. Okay.
Well, Karen, I mean, you're inspiring in your own right. I mean, you've done these fitness pageants like in your 50s, you've challenged yourself. And I think that's if you're out there listening or for the first time here in episode 1, I think that's just the main gist of this program, isn't it? To kind of convey the message to those out there that there are a lot of different ways you can really get your workouts in now, be it online or in person. And don't make it hard on yourself when it can be easy. And we kind of said this, and obviously this is going to motivate me, but you never run out of second chances. You always you have unlimited chances to kind of come back and accomplish things. And, you know, it's getting colder out. It's getting to the point where people won't want to leave the house. And this is a tough time of the year for a lot of people. You really, really can gain so many positive endorphins by just getting a 30-minute sweat in, even if it's just walking around the block. You know, giving your dog extra walks. Maybe, you know, and this is a good way if people want to, you know, try to start running. And I get it. There are a lot of people with bad knees and stuff. They probably want to get on the bike, but the bike's the same way. But if you're having like an issue running or getting your cardio up, start with one block. Run around the block one time. If you have to walk, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then after 3 times, add just a little bit of length. And in 6 to 7 weeks, you'd be amazed how much more you'll be doing. And I think that's just the point of your program right here, is to kind of help guide some people here along the way.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're not going to make any secret about it. I mean, this will be a topic down the road in the show, but you've been a rock bottom yourself, and you've been able to crawl out of that. And everything that you've accomplished has been amazing.
My whole life. It makes me laugh. Like, maybe I'm not supposed to laugh about it, but I really enjoy laughing about some of the silliest mistakes I've made through life. Like, me and my friends, you know, I went home to Jersey. Some of us, like, were just like, oh my goodness. Like, if we were such good athletes when we were young, like such good athletes, we could have went to any college that we wanted to, but, you know, it was like beer, boys, and booze and whatever, you know? So, you know, I made a lot of not so great decisions through my life, but I'll tell you what I did constantly do. And that was exercise. It got me through it. Like, athletics as a kid, I was good at it. And, you know, I come from the time, I'm 58 years old now, and I come from the time where you were either good, bad, smart, or stupid. You were either good at sports or you weren't.
Right.
You know, there wasn't all these different names for stuff like ADD and all this stuff. You were either, I repeat, good, bad, smart, or stupid. And if you fell any of like the bad and stupid, then you better be good at athletics, right? So it was kind of like that. And not that I was bad and stupid. I don't want to say that about myself, because that's not true. But maybe I thought that about myself when I was younger. I got in a lot of trouble. I ended up addicted to drugs by the time I was 13 in the foster care system in New Jersey and in treatment centers at a really young kid. And athletics kept me, now granted, there were times I couldn't participate, obviously, if I was in a treatment center or detention or something like that. But as soon as I would get out, I always had to move. And this is in the 80s, by the time I by the grace of God, went through the right programs. That's a whole different podcast, with my youth and stuff. But, move further ahead, get out of high school. We're in the 80s. My girlfriend, Shelly, starts working out. She looks amazing. She was a cheerleader younger. So I was in field hockey. So I don't know. She calls me to this gym. I'm like, what's this? How come you look like that? You look so amazing. We were like 18 years old. That's when Rachel McClish in the bodybuilding world, Corey Everson, we were all worshiping Arnold Schwarzenegger. And that's how it all started for me. I was 18. It was in the 80s. I got to teach, I almost said Pilates. That was much later. I got to teach aerobics. Back in the 80s, it was a fun time for fitness. A little more dangerous, a little less, what am I trying to say? Incorporated. But that's where it all started for me. And even though and then I went on to college, and I went to college for architecture and became an architectural drafter, but fitness was always the night job, and then by the time I was 30, I realized that architectural drafting wasn't for me. I was bored. I was drinking by noon. I was partying, through my 20s. And I went into my 30s. I was like, I'm going to get sober, become a personal trainer full time. I quit the architectural drafting job, went and got a job in a bar, which is a whole nother podcast. Because you think, what? You get sober and go to the bar? Like, I could actually go to the bar without a monkey on my back. It was fantastic. I was actually going and making money, but that's a different podcast too. But yeah, at all that time, I got sober when I was 30, all athletics, and when I say athletics, it was, different trends through the 80s and 90s and 2000s. And I was in them all. I became a fitness trainer and, obviously focused more on strength training back then. And I got hurt, from running. And so I got into yoga and eventually found Pilates and was, I went into Pilates as a student. And it fixed me. And nothing against yoga. I did a lot of yoga just for enjoyment. I'm even certified in yoga, but Pilates fixed me because my core was so weak. I mean, to look at me, I looked really, really good and fit. I'm 30 years old. I've been training my whole life. So, I look good, but I didn't know that my core was so weak. It's odd how, you can use your extremities and still have a weak core.
You can work out core every day, right?
Yeah.
Like you hear don't do shoulders more than once a week. You can do your bench press, once a week and be fine with that. Obviously, you can probably do legs maybe a little bit more, but core is something you really can do a little bit of every day, right?
I think so. Yeah. Like I even think I just thought of myself sitting here, everything's about posture,
right?
Holding the stomach in. Obviously I was just relaxed, but I was somewhat lined up. Because now my core is strong, but I had to go through many years of physical therapy back then. And then I found Pilates. I was like, all right, I'm going to try this Pilates. I tried everything and nothing was working. And my back was so sore and I couldn't figure it out. And I don't want to call myself a runner back then, but I did run. I would run on the treadmill in the mornings. And, it was this is back in the 90s. And, the ellipticals were just starting to come out, and my back was killing me. And I thought, I'm too young. I can't have this. I'm going to have to fix this now. So yoga would make me, I'd feel better for a day or so, but it would come back. And here I went to Pilates, and it turned out that my core being your inner thighs, it's not just your abs like everybody thinks. It's your inner thighs. Like you think of an apple core, it goes right from the top all the way to the bottom. Mm-hmm. So your inner thighs, pelvic floor, abs, I always think of 3 sections. Everybody who trains under me knows that I'll say, pull your stomach in, pull it in again, pull it in again. Because it really takes 3 times to get those upper abs really intact. If you think about it, at least at my age now, it takes 3 times. And then your lats, your shoulder blades are part of your core as well. So you really, once you strengthen all that, you can get out of a lot of trouble with issues and injuries in the shoulders, in the hips. Even strengthening, I was just in physical therapy for my one knee. And what's that? Strengthening hamstrings, all the muscles around it. So, this goes off into another subject. Like I joke, I'm like, wow, we've only got an hour. We could talk all day long. But strength, Pilates is, I kind of went down the rabbit hole there, but Pilates did help my back. I knew then that I had to get certified in it, get educated in it so I could share it with others. That's why I joke, I love CrossFit and athletics. I love CrossFit because I like the camaraderie, and I love using the barbell. How about you, Steve? You like a barbell?
Yeah, I do. Actually, there's a question that you just said that brings something up to mind for me. And you talked about the sore back, and it actually gets better with Pilates. Now, I noticed with my knees that have been busted from playing rugby and getting into CrossFit and everything. People will say that, I can't do a squat because my knee hurts. Well, actually, you know what? Doing the squat actually might make your knee feel better. It's the opposite of what you think a lot of times. Usually, when you have something that's sore, and I get it, you don't want to overwork it or kill it, but that movement is actually going to be a healing factor in you getting better, right?
Absolutely. And, I send a lot of people.
I think it's the biggest misconception. They're like, well, I can't do this because I'm hurt. Well, actually, if you do it, you probably will shake it off and feel better.
I have physical therapists on speed dial, not for me. For me, for sure. I was just in there for my knee, but for my clients too. Like if they start getting to a point, because a lot of us will be like, oh, it'll get better. And, or you work through the pain with the movement. That can go against you too. But doing nothing, like what your point is the worst thing you can do. Not moving it and doing nothing will guarantee you.
Trust me, I'm my own worst enemy in that regard, but I get it.
Me too. And an injury, right? I know. So I think like getting through injuries. Yes, I'm doing this virtual classes in the mornings, and it kind of started out, it was just me and a friend. I was trying to get used to being on camera. And then I was noticing a lot of my peers and my girlfriends, because like I said, I'm 58 years old, and a lot of my peers were like, oh, my knee hurts, this and that. And I've always been the one that continued with the workouts through my life. And I was like, man, I just want to get my friends moving. And so like we brought up squats, like say your knee really does hurt and you're injured. You would do like a baby squat, but you also can do a chair stand where you're just standing up. There's so many things, or modifications would be the word to say. I think what your point was, don't do nothing.
Right. Exactly.
Make sure you're moving and doing something. And then obviously, if you're really injured, you got to go see a physical therapist. But it's not as hard as people make it, but it is hard. I think anything that's, how do I say this? Like, I tell people, it is, nutrition, fitness, sleep. There's so much to it. When I say fitness, I mean the exercise part of it. You know, there's a lot more to fitness, but you know what I mean. That's all so important. But 20 minutes a day could make a difference to somebody that's not moving.
And honestly, it doesn't have to be every day. I mean, it doesn't have to be like you're going super hardcore.
Absolutely.
You can do as simple as like balance exercises.
Yeah.
Like I've done, you know, where I just stick my leg, I'll try to stand on my left leg and I'll kick my right leg out just a little bit. Even if I can't kick my right leg all the way up in the air and just stand there, even if I can just do it a little bit, the next time or two, I can do a little bit more each time.
I know.
If I get in the habit, or like you said with the squats, just for me, even at times, just sitting down on the box and getting up.
Yeah, chair
and a good squat formation. So you don't have to literally kill yourself when you're working out. And a lot of this stuff is just kind of, you almost have to beat it in like as repetitive practice. Now, here's a good question for you. And as we get into the show in future episodes, we'll have a variety of topics and all that. But here's one. This is kind of a hard one, maybe. There's almost too much to practice. I find it where, you know, obviously if you're doing CrossFit, you got to do like, you know, overhead squats, we'll say. Well, you only do overhead squats, and I know it's not for everybody, you know, once every 6 or 7 weeks as part of a class. So how do you find the time to stay consistent and good at that type of thing? You know what I'm saying? That's always been the tricky thing for me, is like trying to fit everything in, even jump ropes. Yeah. You forget about it because you're practicing everything else. Oh yeah, I probably need to get on the jump rope and skip for a while, you know?
Yeah. Well, overhead squat. I mean, that's my least favorite.
And that's an advanced exercise for the people out there who don't know that one. But
like that's something that I want to talk to you about in the future, because one of my favorite magazines is Men's Health. So when I travel, I buy Men's Health in the airport. It's a great magazine, even if you're a female. And finally, in this one article, it was about a year ago, they talked about how, you know, like when you're doing a deadlift, say you're a really tall guy, you know, you might need that barbell lifted up off the floor in order to be able to keep your right form, because of our, you know, a guy or a girl. I didn't mean to say a guy. It was a Men's Health. So I was looking at pictures. It was pictures of guys that were tall, right? But there's tall girls too, right? And so I have like a little lifter in my gym where it's lifted up a little bit for a taller person so they don't round out their back when they're picking up the bar. Also with overhead squat, I have really, really long arms. Like
right. That makes it
freakishly long arms. Yeah. So this writer was talking about that kind of stuff. There's some moves that you're just going to be terrible at because of the way that you are built. So, and I know that's not the point that you were going on with the overhead squat, but I kind of got off track here. And because we were talking about CrossFit, I also want to say, like, when you go, like, say, like CrossFit is a hard workout, and I don't like telling people all the time that that's what I do. And sometimes I think that's what made some of my friends think like, oh, no, I'm not going to work out with her. You know, she does CrossFit. She's going to make me do things I can't do. I'm hurt. I've never worked out in my life, or I'm overweight or whatever. You modify everything. So any exercise can be modified, even overhead squat. You know, you just hold it in a front squat,
right?
Or, but I'm sorry, I went down the rabbit hole because all I heard was overhead squat. I'm like, oh God, it's like,
I was throwing you curveballs there too.
Yeah, you did. You threw me a curveball there, and I'll go over time talking about that kind of stuff. So I didn't mean to get off track. I apologize for that. But I did want to say, like, you don't have to do super hard moves all the time, you know, like you can switch out. Like, that's why I'm doing this weight training thing at noon at 12:15 every day virtually for the next 2 weeks. That way we can go over just easy moves. Like today we're doing 4, like hammer curl, bicep curl, reverse fly, and something else, but like simple, just 4 exercises. So somebody that's just learning can use soup cans, for God's sake. You can use a 2-pounder, right?
Water bottles or whatever.
Right. And then for me, because I'm trying to get back, we're going to do 3-4 sets of it. I will do the legitimate, I'll probably do for reverse fly a 5, 8, and a 10, and where my peer online might be just starting out and she's doing no weights, 2-pounders, 3-pounders, or a 5-pounder. There's just so many modifications, but just moving the littlest bit counts, and it doesn't always have to be hard. I think that's where we were going with
well, let me ask you this. What's a good little starter? Say I have like a $250 budget. I can get, maybe a couple little dumbbells, some other things. What's like the suggested like starter kit you would get for someone taking your class to where they, have some legit like weights and stuff to kind of mess around?
I tend to cater more to females. I mean, I have male clients, so I don't really like saying that. I feel like I'm dissing them, but for women, you do a starter kit would be 3, 5, and 8-pound dumbbells.
Right.
Some trainers would disagree with me on that, but I do more of Pilates style stuff. So light weights are good because I like to do little muscles too. So 3, 5, and 8 is a great way to start. 5, 8, and 10. Dumbbells, bands, $250 budget is a lot.
Yeah,
you could get a Bosu. But so for $100 is all not even for me. I like band work. We do a lot of band work, which is less than $10.
Maybe we need to start you an Amazon storefront. Honestly,
I know there's so much to do, and I'm just starting to get everything in place and out there. My son's 20 now. I'm kind of at a place in my life where I can regroup and start dealing, working on myself again and my business. And that's why I'm really focusing on the online stuff. I just started a sober recovery fitness program, which is cool for people that are getting out of treatment. And they're like, okay, what do I do now? And I'm like, well, this is the best time for you to get in the best shape of your life.
Yeah.
And it's really like, I was talking to a treatment center yesterday and I was talking to the director and I was like, it's really my job is to just distract her. Like, I know you just got sober and I know it's kind of hard, but it doesn't have to be. And let's get you on a whole new lifestyle track, like get you eating right, because there's certain foods that are really good for somebody that's just getting clean. Alcohol, drugs, whatever that may be. There's certain foods that are really good for them. Start her off exercising, weight training, a little bit of yoga always helps with, your sneaking meditation in there. And my program goes into a lot of stuff, like we'll do that on another podcast if that's okay with you. But I just am starting all these different transformation packages, and this online training thing is new to me. And I'm doing the sober coaching. Obviously, we just talked about that. And then just a regular transformation package for a lady that's just like, I'm already fit, but I kind of slacked off. I want to get back on. And I don't mean to keep saying ladies, men too, but, or I have never really, it goes from all ranges. I've never really exercised and I want to start now. And there's just easy ways to start. There's 5 safe exercises you can do, like calf raises, chair stands, wall push-ups, leg lifts. Like those are the kind of things I'm just trying to show people, that it's easier than the world makes it. And it's hard on social media when everything's just flying at you. And I was kind of tired of seeing all these great fit older people. okay, great. Yay. You're so fit. I'm so happy. I'm trying to be that too. But let's talk about the people that haven't really been exercising in there, kind of going, oh my God.
I'm laughing because that's me.
Look
right
at
now.
the time. Uh-oh. But like you said,
Yeah.
and we'll end this out like this. We'll like
Right.
go. Remember what you said in the beginning? You can always have a comeback.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You can have several comebacks in a week. So in other words, and that's like with sobriety too. Like if you fail, then just stand back up again the next day. It's kind of similar. And I think my addiction recovery stuff, like I'm 13 years sober, this time 7 before, but I feel like that's why a lot of my clients trusted me. They knew that I knew what it was like to not be able to control something, whether it be, for some of them it's eating, for some of them it's not being able to exercise, not liking being uncomfortable, just I think I lucked out being an addict in a way because it helped me in my career. It didn't help me in drafting at all, but in my fitness and coaching career, it really helped me because people trusted me. They knew, they were like, okay, this person knows what it's like to not feel great about yourself, virtually, despise yourself, come out of that, work your way through it. And it's a constant journey, ain't gonna lie. But like we'll end out with this, you can have a comeback daily if you want to.
Yeah, right.
Daily, for real.
Well, I look forward to doing this program with you.
I do too.
I think
so
the plan
much.
is to air every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Obviously, there will be some off weeks with vacation, but we'll try to let everyone know beforehand about that. But I think that was a pretty good overview you gave everybody.
I hope so. I can't wait to listen to it. Yeah, it was fun, Steve. Thanks so much. I appreciate you more than you know.
All right. Let's see here. All right, so tell everyone where they can find you once again, Karen. We'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Oh, I apologize for that pause. You can find me on Fit to Be Trained Online. That's going to show you all that stuff, that we talked about with the coaching programs, virtual stuff, plus live stuff. For those of you that are local, there is another website, fittobetrained.com, but that's more, live stuff. And Instagram, Fit to Be Trained, Facebook, Fit to Be Trained. And this is me, Sizzle, checking out.
All right. Yep. And we'll be back next Wednesday at 12 noon. You can go ahead and catch all this programming on deependbroadcasting.com and go ahead and subscribe to the Deep End Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel. That is Deep End 757 Broadcasting. Deep End, like a swimming pool, DEEPEND 757 Broadcasting. All right, Karen, good job.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Let me get the sizzle. There we go. One more sizzle. Outro.
Sizzling. We'll get it. It'll all.